Hi, this is Kelly from paperbeadrollers.com, and today I'm here to share with you the solution to a problem that I was having: how to get a large paper bead to fit into a 3/4 inch bead cap. Let's get started. To make this pendant, you'll need the peach bead roller from paperbeadrollers.com. Now that's the largest size of bead roller that we sell. A pair of pliers, the one-step looper or some looping pliers, and E6000. You'll also need some glaze, like diamond glaze, to make your bead hard and water resistant. Some regular white glue. You'll also need a paintbrush to apply the glaze. Other materials you'll need include a length of chain. Now mine is 36 inches because I want this to be a long necklace. 2 3/4 inch bead caps. Now this particular paper bead is designed to work with just the 3/4 inch bead caps, although I am experimenting with other sizes, and I hope to have some designs for those as well in the future. I'm using 2 jet black rice beads and a very tiny metal bead to decorate my pendant. I think this bead is about 2 millimeters. You'll need a head pin that is long enough for your entire pendant. Mine is 2 inches. And 3 jump rings. The size is up to you. I like to have a larger jump ring for the end of my chain for the clasp to hook onto. And you need a clasp. This bead is made up of 4 strips. Now it's critical that you use 110-pound cardstock or something of a similar weight. If you try this with a paper that is much thicker or much thinner than 110, you will not get the same result. Now I'm going to give you the dimensions of all 4 strips, but if you have a cutting machine or you would like to be able to print these strips out on your printer at home, you can purchase the digital template pack from paperbeadrollers.com. Strip 1 begins at 1/2 inch width. Then at 1 1/4 inches in, the width of the strip is at 3/4 of an inch. From there, the strip stays at 3/4 of an inch until the end. This strip is 12 inches long. Strip 2 begins at 3/4 inch width and ends at 1/2 inch width. It is also 12 inches long. Strip 3 begins at 1/2 inch and ends at 1/4 of an inch. Again, it's 12 inches long. Strip 4 begins at 1/4 of an inch and ends at just shy of 1/8 of an inch. Now you can take this all the way to a point if you'd like. The strip is 4 5/8 inches long. I'll bring those measurements back for a moment and hold it right here so you can take a screenshot. Now let's roll the bead. I'm using that peach bead roller and this handy little glue pen. Now I recently found these glue pens and I am addicted. They allow me to better control the amount of glue I'm putting down. And as of yet, anyway, it hasn't clogged at all. I managed to scoop up a bunch of these for y'all, and you can get them at paperbeadrollers.com. Now the angle on this strip is designed to solve one of the big issues I was having with these bead caps. Caps are made for perfectly round traditional beads, but paper beads are not usually perfectly round. So the edge of the bead was hitting the inside of the cap and it wasn't fitting correctly. By angling the top of the first strip, we remove that pointiest part of the bead so that the cap can sit properly. Now I'm going to glue strip 1 down, and I'm going to smear the extra glue down and use it for my next strip. Now make sure as you add your strips on that you get them perfectly lined up with no gaps. You will be able to see it in the finished bead if you're off a little bit. We'll do the same thing with strip 3. Glue it down and line it up just right. And strip 4. Now you may think it's easier because it's small, but actually this one for me is always the hardest to get right. And you can see right there, see how it slid as I was rolling it around the bead? So I'm going to have to undo this and reposition it to get it just right. I want to get rid of that gap. Now I'll glaze the bead with diamond glaze to make it hard and water resistant. Now you can just brush it on as smoothly as possible and go slow so you don't get bubbles in the glaze. Now I'll use my bead roller to hold the bead while I glaze the other side. I am going to put 2 coats on this because I want it to be super shiny and smooth. You can do even more if you'd like. The more coats you put on, the more they'll fill in the ridges and you'll have a smoother bead. Now that my bead has 2 coats of glaze and is completely dry, I'll glue on the bead caps. Now you have to be careful with this E6000. It is very sticky, and when it's in this metal tube, you have 0 control over how much comes out. You can see as soon as I took the cap off, it started coming out. Go ahead and apply the glue to the inside edge of the bead cap. No reason to be neat, and you can be pretty liberal with it. Now I'm going to place my bead down into the cap, and I make sure it's centered properly. And we'll do the same thing with the other side. Now we'll give it some time to dry. Now all the beads that make up my pendant are going to go on this 2-inch head pin. We'll start with the jet black bead and then the tiny silver bead. Now the paper bead, which is our focal point. And we'll top that off with another jet bead. Now you can make your loop by hand, or like I prefer, you can use the one-step looper tool. Make sure your beads are on the head pin all the way. Insert the end of the pin into the looper and squeeze the handle. A perfect loop. Now I'll add a smaller jump ring to the loop on my pendant and add it to my chain. I'm also going to close my pendant loop just a little bit to make sure it stays secure. Now I'll add the clasp to the chain. On this end, I'll open up my smaller jump ring Then add the lobster clasp. And the chain. And we'll just close it back up. And on the other end, I'll add the largest jump ring because I like to have a larger ring to grab onto behind my neck. I think the smaller ones here might be 4s and the larger ones may be 8mm. And now you have a beautiful capped paper bead pendant necklace. If you want to see more paper bead tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to get notified when new videos go up. Don't forget to check out paperbeadrollers.com. Got all kinds of wonderful paper bead tools and supplies there for you. Happy rolling!